welcome back to my channel. We are here again for another session of book review of another book of Reverend Christian. And today the book we want to review is Rescue Yourself from Bondage. Meanwhile, if you're new on this channel, I'm still going to join Anwatu, and with me is still Chizoba Christian.
Hi everyone.
Okay, like I said, we are here to do yet another book of Reverend Christian with the title Rescue Yourself from Bondage. Rescue Yourself from Bondage. This book is a best-selling book, and it's a 10 chapters book.
Yes.
And Chizoba is here to review this book as usual in details.
Yes.
And she told me that she's going to take it in 5 segments. Yes, 5 segments. That means she's going to just take it slowly,
yes,
till she finishes
yes.
it. Yes, 2 chapters in 1 segment. Yes, that is it. So Chizoba is here. She's ready to dig in. So let's hear her speak.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you once again, Ma, for always having me. It is a pleasure.
Thank you.
So, as the Deaconess have said, I'm here to discuss this book in detail.
Yes.
And I am so passionate about it because of the deep revelational content in this book.
Yeah.
Trust me, you will have to listen to this book review several times to understand some of the things said here, but patiently go through it because it will bless you. So let's quickly get into it.
Go into it.
Yes, for this segment, I'll be doing 2 chapters, chapter 1 and 2.
Yeah.
So chapter 1 says, Rescue Your Star from Bondage. Now, a star is a bright, heavenly burning body. And there are 3 types of heavenly bodies. The moon, the sun, and the star, although the sun is a conglomerate of several burning bodies. In the conglomerate of burning stars. Now, the star exercises dominion from the constellation through its brightness. That means the star produces value as they burn through their light. So stars exercise the dominion of their brightness. Brightness has to do with knowledge. It's knowledge based. It has to do with learning. Every power channel is knowledge based.
Knowledge based.
Yes, every power channel is knowledge based. However, it is not all kind of knowledge that has internal control over men's destiny. I'll explain this with the account of Jesus' birth. For example, in Matthew chapter 2, there are 2 kinds of people there. First are the astrologers. Astrology is the study of the position and motion of luminary bodies in the firmament. Yes. So the astrologers study the position, they study luminary bodies, because whatever will become prominent on earth will first appear in the heaven. So they study luminary bodies to connect to men's destiny, to help them connect to men's destiny. The second kind of people are the Jews.
The Jews.
Yes. The Jews don't study heavens. They don't connect to men's destiny like the astrologers do. But they are people of book. They prefer to gain knowledge through books. The astrologers are not people of book, so they never made any reference to book, but they study the heavens. That's why their own kind of knowledge cannot establish the internal destiny of men. So it is their acts was brought into record by the Jewish book. Yes. So if the Jews prefer to gain knowledge through books, even a drunkard king believed in it. Yes. When Herod heard that Messiah had been born, he consulted the scribe to inquire, check where it was prophesied. In the book, in books that the Messiah will be born from. So the scribes reminded Herod that it was prophet Micaiah that talked about the birth, where the Messiah will be born, and it came out accurate. So in Matthew chapter 2, Jesus is called a son, a star, sorry. But in Malachi chapter 4 verse 2, he's called a son. Either way, he's a luminary personality. He's a burning body, he's a bright body. Now the difference between the heaven and the earth is in the presence of luminary bodies in heaven that declares or establishes the sovereignty of heaven over the earth. Whatever has sovereign authority will have sovereign control. So all luminary bodies exercise sovereign control over all other bodies. This is why the only way for the earth to survive is through the activities of luminary bodies. So this book is deeply, expresses a lot of things allegorically. So but just go through it. You will get to, understand the patterns and be able to express it. So the only way for the earth to survive is through the activities of luminary bodies. If the sun refuses to shine, if the sun withdraws its light forever, life on earth will perish. So luminary bodies born to give light. They burn to bestow life.
Yeah.
The saving grace of Jesus is in his ability to burn.
Yeah.
Malachi chapter 4 verse 2 I mentioned says he's the son of righteousness with healings in his wings. So his healing grace too is in his ability to burn. Yes, you have to burn for rule. There must be burning before rule. It was the light of Yahshua that the magicians, the wise men, traced to him. The light of his star. So we all live by our light. It's not who you are that matters, but what represents you.
What represents you.
The light that represents you. The light that introduces your value even before you are known, even before you speak. Remember, it was not Jesus that the wise man saw first. It was his star.
It was his star,
yes. And then they followed him to offer gifts to the light that introduced, that represented his value. So they cannot be reign without burning. They cannot be dominion without brightness. But this is for the devil to arrest any star. He must first of all put out his light.
Put out the light.
Yes, put out the light. So no star can be kept in bondage except it first becomes extinguished. Yes. But if a star is burning, nobody, just like flies cannot perch on hot plates, so does Satan not afflict burning souls. Yes, burning bodies, luminary bodies. Otherwise, it's fact, it's not possible. How can you touch something that is fiery? Yes, it will burn the person's hand. So this is why the enemy invests so much strength in putting out people's lights. Yes, and it's precarious because if a star is in bondage, it's veiled and becomes obscured and hindered from burning, from shining. But new things happen whenever light shines. As light burns, seasons are introduced, new things happen. The Bible in Genesis chapter 1 verse 14 says, and I quote, "And God said, let there be light in the firmament of the heaven to separate the day from the night, and let them be for signs, for seasons, for years, and for days." As light burns, seasons are compelled to change. Light introduces new seasons. So in Isaiah chapter 9 verses 1 and 2 says, "For the love of a people in darkness, Jesus produced a great light and rescued them." If evil has remained in the land for a long time, it's because nobody is burning there. So light has to shine. Light is a tool of judgment.
The tool of judgment.
Yes, when the sun is shining, it doesn't pray to darkness. It just burns, and then it's light. Yes, it's light. Darkness just disappears. This light subdues all darkness. So light is a tool of judgment. Luminary bodies depend on their light to dispel darkness, to judge darkness. Moving on quickly to the next chapter, and last for this segment, chapter 2. This is a very interesting one. Chapter 2 says, "Securing a ruling place in the firmament through your light." Securing a ruling place in the firmament through your light. Now, all ruling bodies are burning bodies, as I've said. Remember, I said that a star is a bright, burning, heavenly body. So all luminary bodies are wounded bodies. The word burning is synonymous with wounds. It is a privilege to be wounded for right reasons. If you become wounded, if you're wounded for light, light will heal your wounds. After Jesus was crucified, the light of Christ rose him up from the grave. But before then, mind you, he has spent his entire life harvesting the light of Christ. And when he fully harvested that light, the light elevated him to the position of Christ, which is right hand of the Majesty on high, and he started ruling from there. So no amount of price is too much to be paid to secure a position, to secure a place. And when you obtain a position, you enjoy the power and authority of that place. And the good thing is, nobody struggles for it with you. It becomes yours forever. Yes. This is why the scar you receive, the amount of scar you receive by burning, is irrelevant. Yes. As long as it's ending glory, give it everything. If it's to end in glory, give it everything. The Bible in Hebrews chapter 12 verse 2 says that because of the glory that will be revealed, Jesus endured loads of pain. Why? Because he's a son. In Ephesians chapter 2 verses 5 and 6, the Bible says, even when we're dead in sin, he quickened us with Christ. By grace we are saved. And then had raised us up together to sit together in heavenly places in Christ Jesus. So there are heavenly places The heavenly places are spiritual places. They are spiritual places for people. Just like the way stars are in the firmament and the position of planets from the sun. That is how we are meant to occupy spiritual places. They are heavenly places for people. But people often ignore their brightness, their personal brightness. And you cannot secure a place in the firmament without your personal light.
Without your personal light.
Your spiritual place is meant to be declared by your personal light, not the light of another person. Even the light of Yeshua is meant to reveal it to you so as to harvest it and obtain your place. But when a star is in bondage, it becomes displaced. Yes, it loses its position. Thereby, it wanders around. This is why the greatest thing to secure with your personal light is a strong place. Because when the position of a star is taken away, its motion becomes chaotic. Luminary bodies rotate in the axis to orbit the sun, but they don't leave. Yes, yeah. I'll explain further. In the planetary parade, the sun is there as a conglomerate, right, of burning stars. So next to the sun is Mercury, and then Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, I think, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. So if you look at that position, Pluto is a bit askew from the Milky Way, but they all orbit the sun.
On the sun.
Yeah. They don't only orbit the sun, they rotate on the axis as they orbit the sun. So what this means is that they don't leave the axis, they spin, but while they travel around the sun. And the sun's gravity keeps them in the axis. Another way of explaining this is your personal, staying in with your uniqueness, your unique place in God maintains your fellowship with Him. That's that sun's gravity keeping them in the axis. So that unique place is that unique place for everybody. You just have to depend on your light to secure it. Now, it's been discovered that a day, I'm just using this, to explain. Yes. So it's been discovered that a day on Venus is longer than a year on Venus. Because it takes Venus longer to rotate on its axis than it does for it to orbit the sun. Whereas a day on Earth is 24 hours. Yes, because the Earth's rotation on its axis is 24 hours. Actually, still from discovery, it was 22 hours during the Jurassic era. But several activities on the Earth kept, making the Earth heavier, thereby slowing down its movement by several milliseconds. I can't exactly see. Whereas a day on Mars, on Mars is over 150 hours.
It's on geography.
So these are all the uniqueness of the place. I'll just use this explanation to explain their positions and the uniqueness of this. That is how it is with us. So you just don't try to be another person. Harvest your light and secure your place. There is nothing as powerful as securing a place. God will not give your voice any special attention if you don't have a place in Him. Values are preserved by positions, by our places. The difference between a man's wife and a servant is position. Yes. No matter how good the servant is, the servant cannot take the place of the wife because they don't have such a position. That's why when the woman leaves, the vacuum is felt. The Bible in Hebrews chapter 8 verse 1 says, of the things we have spoken, this is the sum of it. For we have such a high priest who is seated at the right hand of the heavenly place of God. Now, the Bible talks about two positions, which equally refers to seats, or vice versa, two seats, which equally refers to position. Now, God will occupy one, whereas His Son is already occupying the other. And they both have different authorities. They have different power, different places. The difference between a man's wife, again, son and servant this time, is in the degree of representation. The degree of representation is seen in the extent of the authority. That is what one can or cannot do for the man. The moment Jesus manifested as the Son of God, He manifested the highest power and authority of God on earth as Son. But He paid for that power and position. Life and death is about the right seat. That is why you should give everything to it. Because that has your immortality. Life is also preserved from right seat. The essence of burning is to secure a valuable position. So give you the life you have here is actually trade with to secure a position. To keep burning, that's why it's called burning, to keep burning out your humanity, to trade. That seek first the kingdom of God is part of this. To keep burning out your humanity, to trade with, to secure a place. That's the essence of the life you have here on earth. Because whether you like it or not, you will lose your life. So it's better to lose it for something important.
For right reasons.
For right reasons, which is securing an internal position. And all you have to do is to pay for a seat. It is our ability to pay that separates us, not in our ability to fight. Additionally, in John chapter 1 verse 12, the Bible says that as many as received him, he gave power to be sons of God, even as many as believed on him. And Hebrews chapter 2 verse 10 says, for it became him for whom are all things, and by whom are all things, in bringing so many sons to glory, to make the captain of their salvation perfect through suffering. Now, so many people, we are sons, but it's not meant to end there. If you're a son, S-O-N, you're meant to become a son, S-U-N, in order to secure a spiritual place. But a lot of people stop in just being sons. S-O-N. Yes. They don't rise up to become sons, S-U-N, because of the price it requires. You must be a son, S-U-N. Yes, a son, S-O-N, must become a son, S-U-N, in order to secure a spiritual place. We live by our brightness. So it's the energy to gravitate in the heavenly places is by our brightness. But that if you don't shine, then you will start to fade out. If your lights, if you refuse to shine, you start to dim and lose relevance. Luminary bodies depend on their brightness to secure a position, because seats will always make demand on brightness. That concludes it for this segment.
Thank you so much.
It gets deeper. Over to you, Bob. Thank you.
Rescue yourself from bondage. I've heard it from Chizoba. Honestly, this book is eschatological.
It's eschatological.
Honestly, I don't blame you if you don't understand it in the first listening. That means you need to listen it over and over and over patiently so that you can get what is there. Of course, you must have some basic knowledge before you can understand this book. It's eschatological in nature. That is still very good. You still need to know what is there. As you already started by telling us so much about lights. You need to burn for you to get, obtain dominion. Burning is everything. Brightness is everything. Getting light is everything. That's what she's been saying. We're going to continue again in the next edition. This is just the first segment, first and second chapters. The next one, we're going to continue with the next 2 chapters till we get to the last. So tune in again as we come back to continue from where we stop. For now, we're going to say bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.